So it's my pleasure this morning to invite Reverend Louis to speak to us on the joy of spirit, and this man is a joy of spirit.
Good morning, beautiful beings.
Good morning.
Full house today. It looks good. It's very becoming. Glad that you're with us to celebrate today. Before I start my lesson, I have chosen to read from the glossary from that wonderful Dr. Holmes. And what he says about joy, and this is what he wrote. The emotion excited by the expectancy of good, gladness and delight. And aren't we all delighted to be here? And aren't we glad that we're here?
Yes.
It's all part of being alive.
Amen.
And do that again. Amen. Okay. It is a joy to be here. This beautiful weather, this beautiful day, and this wonderful spiritual community that we have grown together with all of you. And it's just a real delight. In this month's Center for Spiritual Living Greater Chico Creative Thought that we put out each month, and it's hot off the press, so I invite you to take one. In fact, this morning, there was a group that gathered here fairly early and stapled them together, so the ink is dry. You know that. In that inside message to the congregation and all of you that read it, I wrote that joy is a three-letter word. And it is a three-letter word. It's a small word. It's a powerful word. It is a joyful word. I ask you, what does joy conjure up in your mind? What does joy mean to you? Happy times? Being with people that you enjoy and love? Coming to Sunday celebration here at the center? Doing classes, doing life, just living. That is joy. According to St. Webster, the patron saint of definitions, it is the following. And yesterday when I had written this and I had done it on my magic machine. That's what I call I'm gone to the laptop, I want you all to know. So I'm moving up in this world. And I said, Michael, do you think that's a little too slammy Catholic if I say St. Webster? But that's a good thing. We all need care. We all need that patron saint, don't we? Well, this is what Webster says. To have and experience great pleasure or delight, that is joy. The emotion evoked by well-being, success, or good. We are made aware by Dr. Holmes also from the textbook, and he speaks about joy numerous times within the textbook. And we know that Dr. Holmes was the author of the Science of Mind textbook, and also the one that founded the religious science movement. And he says this, spirit is God within, the self-knowing one. The self-knowing one, the God within. And it is. So as I look out today, I see all the gods and all the goddesses, all the spirits that have shown up here today to celebrate with us, to be in that space of goodness and joy that we all are. The combination of joy and God is the basis for my lesson today, the joy of spirit. And together that joy of spirit and that space that we live in and move in and have our opportunities to express this great delight. This is experiencing and walking the talk and the joy of life. And it is a God within to awaken to that great delight. So what I know for each and every one of us, that we have a luxury appointed life that's filled with good friends, happy times, good songs, and a fellowship and a love with Mother Nature. knowing that all of nature is a culmination of our direct thought and the impress that we put toward it. When I think of joy, what flashes into my mind is one big, abundant, happy life. A feeling like I have here this morning before you, as what I see is a reflection of that joy and that good, that God within each and every one of you, that essence that just blooms and comes forth from each of your faces. It's a great one. And it's a glorious day, the freshness and the newness of spring. And I know that wind is going to power a lot of fans that will give us electricity. This afternoon, I have declared that it will be turned off so we can work in the yard. And I think we all agree that there's purpose for everything in life. It's coming to me to be made aware of the good that the wind does, the energy that it creates, the volume with which it blows and goes and moves, but we know that after 12 o'clock on Sunday, it'll be still. You got it. Should we do the collection now? What I know today as my truth is that the joy that is at my center is ever expressing. It's like the love and the God within. It's always there. I am that energy expressing. I am that love expressing. I am the spirit of the universal knower expressing all time. Life flows through me. It flows through each and every one of you. The only thing that stops or is resistant is our thought, or the lack of using correct thought, to allow that flow to move in current of goodness in all ways. And I know that the vibrant joy that each one of you have and I have, it always carries this joy and this happiness to a full bloom, to that good bloom, that new bloom of spring. I know that the wishes that I have is my good coming true to my thought. For I've selected them. Yesterday when I was here doing flowers for today, I thought, this is one of the greatest gifts that I've been given since Kathleen's been away, and she's leaving again for Hawaii real soon. And when she comes home, she assures me that she'll be back doing them. But it's been kind of a fun interlude to do them. There's a certain amount of connectedness with the earth, with the floral and the beauty. It's a gift that I got to do again, and I'm loving it. However, I'll be happy when she takes over again. You know, there's that balance, that cause, that effect, that joy. Joy is a lightness in attitude. Joy is a lightness in how we perceive, how we see, how we think, how we speak, how we express. Joy is supportive. And it allows us to create at our authentic self. And your meditation this morning was great, Michael. I thought, he's taking part of my lesson. Who knew? And I want you to know, when we prepare our lessons, it's really very interesting because we never know what the other fellow's going. We know the title of the lesson, but we never know what the other guy is going to talk about. And here we're sitting there in that meditation, and I thought, he's taking part of my shtick. Well, I want to share a little story with you. Perhaps some of you have heard this story. My good friends that have a center in Illinois, Michael and Mary Beth Spear, was on their newsletter on the 27th of April. But it works real well for my lesson, so bear with me if you've heard it before. There was 4 people, and those people were named everybody, somebody, anybody, and nobody. There was an important job to be done, and everybody was sure that somebody would do it, but nobody did it. Anybody could have done it, but nobody did it. Somebody got angry about that because it was everybody's job, and everybody thought that anybody could do it. But nobody realized that everybody wouldn't do it. It ended. It ended up that everybody blamed somebody when nobody did what anybody could have done. Have we ever gotten in situations like this? Well, at different times in our lives, I think we've all had the opportunity to be somebody, anybody, nobody, or whatever, you know? What I ask you today, what and who have you been doing? And what and who have you been expressing in life? At your home, at your workplace, here at the center. I'm knowing that all of you are somebodies here at the center. You're never a nobody. We're all energized essence of the one power, that one good that's ever with us. How are you showing up in your life? Are you coming true to your deepest dreams, your wants, your desires, and all the things that you truly, truly wish for? Are you jumping with joy? Are you happy you're here? I think by and large you are, with the smiles on your faces and the fellowship that we are building here at the center. We all have gifts. We are all somebody. And that's not leftover hot sauce from yesterday's Cinco de Mayo celebration. You are somebody, don't ever forget it. That you are divinely appointed to be here on this planet to celebrate not only at this Sunday celebration at CSL Greater Chico, but you're here to make a difference, to be a great assistant to the one power, the one Spirit. In all of life, your attitudes and your emotions are governed by the way you love yourself and those that you share life with and those that you visit on a daily basis. We have been taught to love Spirit and to love thy neighbor. I learned that some years ago, and perhaps I've shared this story with some of you in class. When we were building our home, there were 3 lots on the side hill. Well, one house was already completed. We were starting ours, and the center lot was getting ready to build. The individual that purchased that lot was very unhappy because there was going to be a house on both sides of his home, and he wouldn't be able to have that nice panoramic view. And he said, "Why did you build on that lot?" I said, "So we could have the view." They were all for sale. He chose the one that he chose, and we chose the one that we chose because we liked what we saw. But it all worked out. He got kind of knotted up in his knickers, but he has become a wonderful friend. And what has created a 180-degree turnaround was that he was riding his bicycle and was hit and had a very serious bicycle accident. Wound up with, you know, that starstruck thing you wear. And from that moment on, it was the greatest gift that he ever received, and as his neighbor, a great gift to us.